Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Deep Dive podcast with me, Crispina, and my partner in crime, Steve.
Hi.
Okay, if you notice, we have someone in the studio with us.
That's right.
She's Ang Hui Min. Okay, and she's a journalist with the digital news team. Some of you may have read her stories. She covers the education-related news for CNA. Hi, Hui Min.
Hi.
Welcome.
Both of you. Hi.
And you're here in this, warm seat, not so much hot seat, because you were covering this story about Mobile Guardian, the students basically using their devices online, and it got hacked, and it seems like they had lost a whole bunch of stuff, right?
The news came out on Monday morning because there was a press release. But I think what students started experiencing is on Sunday night when they opened their iPads to revise for the next day. I spoke to one secondary 4 student who had prelims on Monday.
Okay.
And, Sunday night she's like doing her last minute revision. She opens her iPad and all her notes are gone.
My God.
Wow, that feeling, that sinking feeling like life has just stopped for you, right? Especially in Singapore.
Yeah.
So she has no idea what's going on. Her phone's blowing up.
Okay.
The students I spoke to all said that, they immediately check with their classmates like, oh my goodness, all my notes are gone. Right. So they go to school the next day and they find out that it's because their devices have been hacked.
How bad was the problem? How many kids were hit? How many schools? Give us a rough number.
Yeah. So 26 schools and about 13,000 students.
Okay, so this was interesting because they said that the devices were wiped out by the hacker, right? But MOE later came out to say that okay, they managed to retrieve some of the information. When you have exams and kids and parents, it's a cocktail, right?
Yeah.
And people get really, really upset.
Yeah.
So what was in your view, what was the main pain points about the Mobile Guardian?
Because it's a device management app, the whole point is that it allows parents or teachers or whoever the administrator is at MOE to go in and wipe the devices. It gives it actually a lot of power, right? You can go in, you can make sure they can't access this and that. So what the hacker did is when they got into the system, they got this complete control over the device, and that's why they could wipe the whole thing.
Yeah.
So all of the memory is gone if they hadn't backed up their stuff.
Yeah. And basically, they're probably doing this in case it's used for, untoward purposes.
Downloading games.
Yeah. Actually, when you were in school, did you have such a... Because you're much younger than us, So I'm just wondering, in my time, it was still pen and paper.
Me too.
Yeah.
In secondary school, I was part of that first batch that started getting tablet computers.
Okay.
So, but... Of course, it's not an iPad or anything like that. So we did take notes on Google Docs in class and things like that. But I still relied mostly on pen and paper, mostly because I think my method was I like to write and memorize what...
She was a good student lah.
She's the kind of student that I was friends with. Because
exactly. The kind we copied from.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have meant anything to me because I didn't have any notes to begin with. So I wouldn't have lost anything anyway.
Yeah, so that's what somebody told me, right? They were like, who are these kids who are complaining about the notes? It depends on the kids, right? I mean, some kids will be like, what notes?
Exactly.
It's not just notes, but a lot of them actually have their homework on there as well, because now schools actually give the homework via these apps.
See, this is the best excuse.
Yeah,
It used
I
to
lost
be
my
the
homework.
dog ate my homework.
Someone stole my homework.
Yeah. There were a couple of hacks
Okay.
who couldn't submit their projects as well because of this hack.
I'm sure the teachers would have been understanding, right? It's not as if it was
definitely.
their fault.
Thanks so much for coming in and giving us this update. Hui Min's going to leave us, and we're going to have some other guests come in to chime in more on the issue as we dig even deeper here on Deep Dive.
The caveat here is that you guys have to make it as easy to understand for the non-IT folks as possible, which is basically me and Steve with this Mobile Guardian case. We understand that it's a device management system, and then the hackers were able to get in and basically wipe out the entire thing. How does that happen? How can it be so easily hacked?
So in the past, when we have mobile devices, then we have something called BYOD, if you can recall. Bring your own devices. Right?
Okay.
Yes.
But there was a joke that time is that the moment you bring your own device, there is no management and governance over the device.
Right.
So it became bring your own disaster.
Oh.
Right. So after which then MDM, mobile device management, came into play to manage this piece. And that's how it came about.
Okay.
And one of the very important function is that in case the device is lost, then there's a remote erasure function in it.
Right.
Wow,
Yes,
so
yes.
powerful.
That's only one of the functions.
Okay.
Okay.
And this probably has evolved into a vertical sector like education, whereby then they incorporated this into the the management of classroom activities together with the MDM function. And this time round, I'm not in the position to know what's actually happening in the company.
Yeah.
But from the news, I reckon that the credential was compromised.
So in a way, this Mobile Guardian, in very simple terms, is an app. It's basically an app that we will have on our iPad, on your computer, that you can access. You can put your notes on it. I hear schools even send homework through that platform.
Exactly.
So basically, everything school-based will be using that as a medium, as a tool,
Yes.
right?
And you can't listen to Spotify. You can't download your favorite.
Yeah, it doesn't allow you
know,
to surf on the
shows,
internet because
etc.,
it's
right? Because it's a
Right.
restricted thing. So May, tell us, how can a hacker get into something like this and say, okay, let's wipe everything out?
It's not just happened in Singapore, but everywhere. And if you were to read from the IBM research, it's every 11 seconds
What?
there's a victim of such. So
Okay.
it's not just about mobile guardians. It's every solutions, that every apps
Yeah.
that will
Yeah,
happen.
all the apps that we
Yes.
use.
I mean,
It just
anything online is vulnerable to an
is
attack,
vulnerable.
right?
Right.
Okay, but in this case, what we understand, it is sort of someone went in. Someone basically went in, perhaps a super admin. I don't know how he got the password, the access, and was able to then erase everything.
One of the terms we use is a DMA. DMA compromise, which means somebody take over your credential.
Today, hackers don't break in.
Yep.
They simply log in.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because you lost your credential. And how the credential was lost can be in various ways. It can be that you go to a website whereby you downloaded something and the thing has something called APT, Advanced Persistent Threat, whereby it actually resides in your PC or your enterprise. And slowly, somewhere from Timbuktu or somewhere.
So in other words, it's
Yeah.
been spying on you, right?
Exactly.
So it watches
So once
everything
you
that's
key
happening on your
in your
screen.
password
it
and
can
your
see you
whatever,
keying
it
in your
sees
password.
you doing that and then
Yes.
picks it up. And
And they
then,
can also actually go to the nano and change it. This is just one of the technique that they use, and there's multiple way that they can get in. I would say you may think that this is one of the very serious incident, but if you were to look back, it's like every day you see something.
Yeah, I mean, not too long ago we
Yeah.
had CrowdStrike,
Yep.
the firm that
Yeah,
came
there's
in,
an-
and that caused a big, big problem for many of us because basically systems stopped working.
Exactly.
Yes, but that is not
That's
cyber
not
attack.
cyber attack. Yeah.
That is not cyber attack.
yeah, that's
Okay.
different.
That's just outrage.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody, I do not want to quote the name, he said, software is a malware.
Okay.
Okay.
You also need to keep updating, and then for this case, a bugs just take everybody down.
Yep.
But you may also realize that somebody was not affected. Why? In the same organization that I know, some of the devices has been affected, but
Others
the
were
others
not.
is not. Why? It's because they have not updated.
Oh, yeah. So, ironically, I didn't let the bad guys in because I didn't.
Because I
And
didn't click this time
You
to
have not
update.
actually keep it updated, but in the guideline, in the standard, you has been asked to keep it update, isn't it?
yes,
So that
that's
is one
right,
of the
yeah.
thing. And if you don't do it on time,
Yep.
it
Yeah.
become your problems. Now you have another problems.
So we know that everything online is vulnerable to an attack, whether hardware, software. In this case of Mobile Guardian, it's purely online, right? It's not the actual device that got hacked. And someone went into the system, removed all the data. Is it because there was a lack of controls?
The announcement was, I think, something to the extent of credential being compromised.
Okay.
So we reckon that probably some bad actors has logged into their server.
When you say credentials, means they stole the user name,
Yes,
the login
yeah.
ID, right?
passwords.
Yeah.
Yes. So with that in mind, they just write on the existing
Ah.
function of MDM.
Right,
Just
right.
probably press a button
Yeah.
and that's it.
One of the questions that came up after this Mobile Guardian hack was the role of third-party vendors. Assuming I am a business owner or maybe even I'm MOE, right? And I need to hire somebody to do this management system for me or even to create a website. I'm not likely to be an IT savvy person who's decided. It's a procurement process, right? From the business point of view, do I buy off the shelf? You already have a system that works for all schools. Do I buy and then customize, make something different for my own needs, or do I do my own? Like for example, SingPass and Parking SG was created, right?
whether in-house or outsource, there is a fair degree of risk in any way. You develop own application, you need to know whether it is properly programmed. There are tools for you to scan whether there's vulnerabilities. I mean, in the past, I probably would just put a domain expert maybe in teaching together with some technical expert together. Right.
To
So-
decide what software.
Exactly.
Okay.
But today there's a new dimension that the unceasing changing landscape of threat out there.
Right.
The hackers are improving every day. So this portion, there is no guarantee that it's safe, actually. We will never know. So
But
it's,
you do need a cybersecurity person there
Yes,
too, right?
exactly.
You know, when I was teaching, so we needed to get somebody who do a website for the student newsletter, and went through the normal procurement process. Okay. All the quotes, etc., everything done. But after we did it, we realized that these guys are not that good. It was glitchy, you know. But we were signed to the contract, and most importantly, we were left at the mercy of these guys. So how do how do you deal
But
with
you
that?
can't prevent that, right? You don't know because you make a
But surely
choice.
you can't just say, "Oh, too bad, I don't know," right?
We take MOE as a case, or all the government agency or government agency related. When you actually choose a third party vendor, there's a guideline that you need to follow,
Quite strict one.
and is actually mandated or dictated by a certain agency that you have to follow. So in this case, your question is the role and responsibility is not very clear. Why? Because you are supposed to take the third-party vendor that been qualified or approved, and
Yeah.
you need to use exactly the
Basically, the approved
process
vendors
as well.
that have been vetted and have been, a certain number of experience and credentials
Right.
and things like that. Yeah, you can put it all on paper nicely.
Yeah.
But there's no way to ever really verify until you're doing it itself, right? To find out whether they really, like in your case, can do the job.
Yeah, because
a bit too late.
some students on Reddit, as usual, very free now because all their homework has been wiped out. They were saying that it was glitchy. When everybody logs on, then it slows down. So, with these some kind of red flag.
when you mentioned that it is glitchy,
Yes.
it is quite tricky. In a way, glitchy could be just functional.
Yeah.
Or a very, very well-written software may not be secure.
Right.
Right. So the security side probably is not well scanned or maybe they are not well tested. So there's something called penetration testing, vulnerability assessment.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that
it could
will
be a
come in.
good product,
Yeah.
but poorly protected.
So-
maybe.
Exactly.
And I was going to
don't know.
ask, because in this case, honestly thinking something for school and your homework, when you think of security, you don't think it's too important, right? Accessibility versus security sometimes is a give and take, right?
Exactly.
Versus my SingPass, I want it to be super secure because so much can be done with that, right? So is it a question of security here, where in this app, it just wasn't as secure and therefore more vulnerable?
Probably this thing was procured sometime back there where cybersecurity is not so
Very-
complicated
Okay.
today. Yeah, potentially. Even today, I would say that even you put in some cybersecurity guide in the process, which is necessary in my view,
Yeah.
there's no 100% guarantee as
Correct.
well. There are so many ways that the bad actors can come in.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to talk about the failover processes. Maybe we were talking about this before we started recording, and you were saying that they are like it's almost like a castle, right? And your cybersecurity is like the moat. So you make sure that the bad actors don't cross and climb into your walls and stuff like that. So one of the things that came up in this thing was that they were at complete mercy. That means the notes wiped out, then they start crying, then they say, "Oh my God, my prelims, I'm going to fail, blah, blah, blah." Because there was no backup.
That was a user problem, no backup.
No lah, I mean...
No,
but-
seriously.
No, but if you're a young kid...
I am completely anal about this. I back up my stuff every day. I mean, every other day at least. And
I
I
have
walk
not
into my
backed
kid's
up
room.
my
Did you back
stuff.
up your computer? Because she'll come to me, "Oh, it's not working." And I'm like, "Did you back up?" "No." And I'm like, if
No,
only
but
you had
I
backed
think
up.
most... Do Singaporeans are very disciplined about backing up? I don't know. Not Singaporeans, but users.
Well, when you've been
users,
hit once,
are we...
I haven't, but once you've been hit once, you will become a convert.
But again,
Yes.
everybody have a different understanding, or rather we say education on the how you protect your data,
Data.
or
Yeah.
how you protect your digital device.
Okay.
So in this case, he have a very strong feeling. Stephen have a very strong feeling about backup because he think this is very important. That's how he take back control. But on the other hand, that's where the third party come in to say that, oh, we have the solutions in place to safeguard.
See, that's the thing. Whose role is it?
Okay, so do you
Exactly.
rely
If
on
I'm
others?
using your product, right, then you should help me back up, right? Why you know?
No, I think it should be both.
Yeah.
So
It
I trust
depends.
the company I use, the service provider, to secure the system, but at the same time, I always keep another version on my own. Maybe it's just me being kiasu,
I
and
think
typical
you are
Singaporean,
not
we should be
typical. I think you are not typical. I think more like I don't do backups that often.
because
Right? I rely the computer company system has automatic because we use a drive.
Yeah,
So
brave.
everything I'm brave.
yeah, our expectations of such technology, maybe because I've done so much tech stuff that I've come to realize that things always break down. Nothing is ever 100%.
Okay, so
Right,
whose job
right,
is it? So
right.
in the Mobile Guardian's case,
I
is
would
it
say-
the school's job to say, okay, everybody back up?
Depends.
How
That's the
still
word.
depends?
Why? Because in the first place, what is the package that you bought?
Yeah.
Does it include all this?
Did you pay
So
for the car rental? Did you pay for the extra access?
Yeah, exactly. So the package that you purchase,
Yes.
That's true.
what is the criteria, the requirement, and the service maintenance that you pay for?
Okay, so is it possible that because it's Mobile Guardian, it's for school, they were not as stringent in terms of the tender specs, in terms of what you need for security requirements, things like that? Because if you are providing some other company like MediaCorp, we have very strict guidelines because we know that a lot of the stuff needs to be protected, right?
Yes.
Versus a school, which is just like your
Yeah, so
you know,
so that's the
O-level
difference
notes.
between protecting systems which are critical infrastructure, right, and maybe not so critical. But it still makes life very miserable, right, when your system goes down.
Then
So
you go back to the second one because beside your third party, then how about yourself? Is your
Yeah.
guideline given by the government agency to always back up, and how often you have to back up and where? So it can be cloud backup, it can be hard copy backup, or you actually have another drive and it's on-site and off-site. So it depends on, again, back to the guideline. And if without guideline, how much you want to take responsibility as well as accountability beyond that. People, process, then technology.
So everyone has a role to play. I mean, it's a simple question. We've been talking so much about tech breaking down. And when we ask the experts, what should I do? Right? And it's, especially with the financial systems, they'll just say, just keep some cash. Keep some cash in your wallet, right? Ironically, the simplest solution is just to carry some cash,
okay, but
which a lot of young people don't do at all today.
it shouldn't just be the onus of the individual.
I resonate very well with Steve because I think we have gone through so many painful experience of, oh, I forgot to save it. And the file and amendments are
Oh,
lost,
yes.
right? So that experience actually it is subconsciously in me to do backup. But to the question is, yes, it should be multi-party, but multi-party as in vendor and also the user. But also coming back, as per May's mentioned, right? What is the contract? What are you buying? So
Yeah.
the backup
Okay.
also have different tier,
Yep.
and that's important.
Yeah. Going back to my experience, right, of having a IT vendor, maybe within the domain specialists we weren't very good. Maybe my IT team, for example, you didn't know all the intricacies of these 7 layers of cybersecurity.
No need to know.
No need to know. So,
As domain expert, yeah.
but should we have like I don't know, some like an SGTech team or a GovTech team that we can tap on and say, hey, we want this guy. Can you CSI this fellow and see if it works? Or do you think that's
Or
workable?
like tech audit, they're checking to make sure.
Something like that, but like a central thing that we can tap
Yeah.
on.
Sure, I think there are framework and also advisory available for this. I mean, SGTech is also a strong advocate of this framework, working closely with the likes of CSA, work group,
Cybersecurity agency.
Cybersecurity.
exactly
Yeah.
on like the Yes, Cyber Essential, the Trust Mark and all. And also now we have things like CISO as a service, CIO as a service,
CTO as a
CTO as a service.
Yeah.
All this they can tap on. I think the tricky part is that how do they know, right? The
Exactly.
end user.
Who would
Yeah.
know anything? I wouldn't even know where to go, right?
Each and every one have the CISO role.
When you say
Yes,
CISO,
the
yeah,
word
explain.
CISO?
Yeah,
See that starry eye. Like,
Chief
what is
Informa-
CISO?
Yeah.
Like in
Chief-
school physics, right?
Yes, Chief Information Security Officer.
Chief Information
CISO.
Security Officer.
That's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
It
Got
used
it.
to be CIO, which means
Now they
Chief
added security.
Information Officer, but now they add a security officer.
Yeah, he was a bit insecure, so they put security.
Yeah, that's why there's a joke that CIO, after all these difficult cyber problems, anything happen, it became career is over.
Oh no!
CISO career is suddenly over. I mean, just a
hey,
joke. Just a
he's
joke.
got the best acronyms. Career suddenly over. Don't do this job.
What I feel sad about it is because even though they have all this role in place,
Yeah.
they put all the pressure on the layman, on the people,
See, that's what I'm saying.
because they are educated. You need to take the course, you need to go through the training, you need to be educated on cybersecurity. For example, the teacher, which their mission and their belief is on how to educate the young generation
Yeah.
on what they're good at. So
Yeah.
their skill and their professional part is actually on
Yeah.
Something
not the-
different.
Not the
Yeah.
tech
school,
stuff.
but
Not the
not
tech stuff.
Not how to fight against
Malware
malware.
No.
and bad actors.
But they are put responsible for staying alert,
yeah.
trust
Yeah.
no one, and they need to ensure that they don't click the phishing link, otherwise they'll
Right.
get blamed.
Yeah.
So to me, this is the sad part because they put people, process, and technology to expect people to keep up with the technology.
Yeah,
So
I think it's a bit of both burden nowadays and many responsibilities. But all of us use tech, so all of us need to at least have some level of awareness on how to use it. Because at the end of the day, we know that all the most amazing security systems, where's the weak link?
I would like to
That's
chime in on
me.
that.
The
It's,
user.
the situation is a bit changing right now because there are advanced tech coming like deepfake.
Yeah.
So it may be a very well-trained cybersecurity expert. When he received a video that
That's right.
his son is asking him to transfer money, he could transfer the money as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so the people process technology, in my view, is a bit shifting now, where the technology portion is also risky.
Any words of advice for our listeners? Yeah, maybe Ken.
Well, I mean, like what you mentioned, definitely is everybody's responsibility. It's not just
Yeah.
a CISO or CIO. And to your point also, you mentioned whether it's CII. I think that 11 CII, if I recall accurately, education
Critical
is not.
infrastructure, right?
Exactly.
IT infrastructure.
And education, I reckon, is not. But nevertheless, any IT system, we need a backup. And it's not just backup, but offline backup.
Yes.
Yeah, why? Because when you have ransomware, you will scan anything, including your backup, to encrypt your backup as well.
Yeah, so you save it on the cloud and your cloud also gets affected,
Possible.
right?
right.
Yes, possible.
May?
to me, it's because we have been so focused on the reactive solutions. We should be open-minded and looking at the proactive solutions, which mean the people is already the weakest link, and continue putting pressure on people to learn and keep up, stay alert. It's not going to help much. In
Not
fact, it's gonna,
sustainable
you
lah.
are actually adding stress. But so we should actually look at the proactive solutions with technology that can actually cover up and help people to ease the need of too
Yeah.
much of monitoring. So I would say a proactive solutions should be where they need to continue exploring on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you should just write with pen and paper, and then I just use my phone to take photo of your notes.
You're very safe.
That's a bit of both.
And then you lose your phone and your photos are gone.
Oh, never mind. My photos are uploaded to the
Backup.
cloud, so at least I have to go home and check on my computer.
So no system is completely,
Yep.
safe.
Yep.
The vulnerability is something that we have to live with, is what you're saying.
Yes.
But I think we do need to take a little bit more effort into the backups. In
Oh,
this
for sure.
case. Yeah, something that we can control a little bit more.
I always look at it this way. I mean, you are using your devices, your phones, your iPads every day. So you know how to use it. Do you know how to, back up the stuff that's on it? A simple request, right?
Yep.
And I think if you just think about that, it will make life a lot easier when one day it says not working because, I don't know, got wet or something,
No, but having having said that, if the system wiped out my homework, or I don't know, that's not a bad idea.
For some.
For some.
You don't know our kids in Singapore. These are the kids who say, "Teacher, how come there's no homework during the holidays?"
Yeah, not like us, right? We were like, hey, that's not my fault. No, my homework got eaten by the dog. Yeah. Thank
No
you.
dogs
Thank
anymore.
you.
Thank
to
you for
both of
coming.
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So
Okay.
this is Deep Dive. If you have any thoughts on the conversation, do chime in. I'd love to hear from you. And any suggestions for topics too, just drop us a note at our email. We always happy to hear from you.
Yep. Thanks to the team, Junaini Johari, Tiffany Ang, Joanne Chan, Saya Win, and To Yan Yun, who is our intern. Our video editor is Hanida Amin, and sound mixing by Ken Delbridge. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
Bye for now.